Alright guys, so as a lot of you out there might know, there was a decent chance that Final Fantasy VII Remake was going to come out later this year, 2019, and this wasn't based on speculation, rumors, or something that some guy heard from some guy that works for Square Enix. This was literally Square Enix's financial reports were suggesting that we'd see FF7 Remake later this year. They're expecting a huge spike in revenue in quarter 3 of fiscal year 2019, so essentially the fall season of 2019. And because of them foreseeing this huge spike in revenue later this year, pretty much everybody came to the conclusion that it either had to be the Final Fantasy VII Remake or the Avengers Project. Now, we haven't seen really anything from the Avengers Project, and since we don't even really know what the Avengers Project is, I don't know if it's going to meet the quota that they expect. A lot of people are hyping that game up and thinking that it could make the revenue that they're expecting, but we don't know anything about it. And superhero games, for the most part, don't do that well. The Spider-Man PS4 game did pretty good, and the Batman Arkham series has been pretty well received as well. But other than that, dude, superhero games don't do that hot. And for me personally, and a lot of other people out there, this screamed FF7 Remake, and this is before we ever even knew that we were going to get a trailer at State of Play, before there's ever even rumors of it being a State of Play, before we ever even knew there's going to be something at E3. But it seems like things have changed based on the recent financial reports. It suggests that the game might be coming out, or Avengers Project, in 2020. Those who have been watching Square Enix financials know that last year's report for the fiscal year 2018 included an exceedingly positive midterm target forecast for fiscal year 2020. The company targeted 300 to 400 billion yen of net sales and operating income of 40 to 50 billion yen, signaling massive growth due to the digital entertainment segment, the one dedicated to AAA games. After taking a quick look at the publisher's release calendar, it was easy to imagine those sales to be a consequence of the company's two most anticipated releases, Final Fantasy VII Remake and the Avengers Project. With no other heavy hitters in sight, only those two games could lift net sales and operating income by such a significant amount. So right here's the initial financial report that they put out. As you can see on the far right, this is fiscal year 2020, quarter 3. This is where they're expecting the 300 to 400 billion yen of revenue, and then also the 40 to 50 billion yen of operating income. And this is the latest financial report that we received, and for fiscal year 2020, quarter 3, it's now less than the targeted 300 to 400 billion yen range, and even the operating income's less than what they initially expected, and you see an increase in revenue in fiscal year 2021, quarter 3. Pretty much the simplified version of that is that they expected to make a lot of money later in 2019, and that has since been changed to later in 2020. And an even more simplified version of that is that something probably got delayed, be it Avengers Project, FF7 Remake, or even both of them. Out of those two games, if one of them got delayed, I think it'd easily be Avengers Project. We've seen surprisingly more from FF7 Remake than we have anything at all from Avengers Project. That latest financial report still says that they're going to make somewhat less than 300 billion yen. 300 billion yen equates to 2.7 billion US dollars. So they're still expecting to make a lot of money later this year. Now there are a few Square Enix games on the horizon. We could potentially see Babylon Fall at E3. There's a new shooter coming from Platinum Games, and potentially a new game coming from Deck 9, which are the people that made Life is Strange Before the Storm. Now personally, I don't think that any one of these games could hit that $2.7 billion revenue. Like that's insane. And you're talking about some new IPs. It's not often that a game even hits $1 billion, much less over $2 billion in sales. But if they were to release multiple games kind of near each other in quarter 3, then they could potentially hit that mark. And since they still expect to make a lot of money later this year in the fall, somewhere over the $2 billion range, I don't know that it would be FF7 Remake, but that game could definitely hit that mark. And I don't mean that like FF7 Remake is going to hit $2 billion plus by itself, but I'm just saying it's going to make a lot of money when it comes out. It's going to contribute a lot to their income of that year. Either way, we're seeing more from FF7 Remake in June at E3. I 100% believe that we're getting either a release date or window. I don't know which one, but I think they're going to at least give us an idea of when the game's coming out. The game could still very well release in 2019. That is an absolute possibility, but the fact that they expect to make a significant amount less of money later this year means that something had to have got delayed, be it Avengers Project, FF7 Remake, or both of them. And if it happens to drop sometime in 2020, that actually wouldn't surprise me. A lot of people have been speculating that date since 2015. When the game got revealed in 2015, people were making jokes that we're not going to see the game until 2020, and that very well might come true. But either way, I pass off to you guys. What do you think? Do you think the game is releasing this year, 2019? Do you think it's releasing sometime in 2020? What do you think we're going to see at E3? Do you think we're going to get a release date or a release window? Either way, I pass off to you guys in the comment section. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and want to stay up to date with more Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Turn on my notifications. Follow me on Twitter at TheDashingDavid. Had to pause for a second. I did all that in one take. Add my Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Give me forever for a while, give me forever for a while. Quit acting like a baby, or at least less like a child. Give me serenity, or at least just peace.